I have a confession to make. I am a control freak. I plan my days down to the minute. I make to-do lists with every little thing that needs to be done throughout the day. I even color code my planner by categories. I like things a certain way, and I don't like changes to my schedule or routine. But there is one area in my life where I'm letting go of control, and that's when it comes to writing. For the longest time, I thought that in order to get published, I had to write a book that was perfect. And if I wasn't the one to finish the book, then no one would ever know how amazing my story was. I spent years planning out the perfect story in my head. I told myself that I just needed to find the right time to write it, but deep down, I knew that really what I was doing was waiting for the perfect time to come along. But what if the perfect time never came? What if I just kept waiting for inspiration to strike? And what? And that's why I'm so grateful that she wrote my thoughts before I could think them. This author has a gift. She takes complex psychological concepts and weaves them into stories that are not only easy to understand, but also keep you engaged until the very end. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 books from this author that will help you become who you were meant to be, starting with No. 1. You Are a Badass. Even though this was my first book from her, it was definitely not my first time reading something by her. I had actually read several of her articles online and loved them. So when I saw that she had written a book, I immediately put it on my list. From the moment I started reading it, I felt like she was talking directly to me. This book was published over 6 years ago and still remains one of the best self-help books that I've ever read. It's funny, engaging, and most importantly, full of helpful advice. The whole book is centered around teaching you that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, and that's exactly what happens in this book. Jen writes in a way that makes you feel like you've known her for years, even though this may be the first time you're reading her work. By sharing personal anecdotes and stories of others, she illustrates how these lessons can be applied in real life. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "Stop for a moment and visualize the kind of future that you want for yourself. See yourself achieving your dreams and living the life that you're after. Now take a good look at the present. Notice where you are, what you're doing, and the choices you're making. Ask yourself whether those choices are truly aligned with your vision for the future." I love this quote because it reminds us that our current actions are either moving us closer to or further away from our goals. It encourages us to assess where we are and the choices we are making to determine if they align with the future we want to create. After reading this book, I was inspired to take action towards my dreams, and I haven't stopped since. If you're looking for a book to get you motivated and inspired to live the life of your dreams, then I highly recommend picking up a copy. No. 2. The Happiness Trap. Have you ever wondered why you aren't happy? In our society, we're constantly told to pursue happiness, but we rarely receive any practical guidance on how to do so. Our understanding of happiness is often limited to the fleeting moments of pleasure and satisfaction that we experience in our daily lives. However, true happiness is a deeper, more profound emotion that can bring meaning and contentment to our existence. That's why I love this book, The Happiness Trap. In this book, Jen challenges conventional wisdom about happiness and explores the idea that seeking happiness directly is counterproductive. Instead, she proposes that we should focus on cultivating other qualities such as wisdom, compassion, and resilience. As we strive to become better people, happiness will naturally follow. I found this concept to be revolutionary, and it completely changed the way I approach life. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "When we try to pursue happiness directly, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Instead, we should focus on cultivating the conditions that allow happiness to flourish within us." After reading this book, I realized that the key to happiness is not chasing it, but creating the conditions for it to grow. By focusing on personal growth and self-improvement, we can pave the way for a more meaningful and fulfilling life. If you're looking to explore new perspectives on happiness, I highly recommend reading The Happiness Trap. No. 3. The Gifts of Imperfection. When it comes to being perfect, I used to think that having it all together meant never messing up, always knowing what I'm doing, and never showing any signs of weakness. But after reading this book, I realized that this couldn't be further from the truth. In this book, Jen talks about how striving for perfection is not only impossible, but also harmful to our mental health and well-being. She argues that instead of aiming for perfection, we should focus on embracing our imperfections and learning from our mistakes. We don't need to have everything figured out all the time. It's okay to ask for help when we need it, and it's important to be patient with ourselves when we're struggling. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are." There is no perfect way to live your life. There is only your way. After reading this book, I realized that striving for perfection is not only impossible, but also harmful to our mental health and well-being. We should focus on embracing our imperfections and learning from our mistakes. I highly recommend reading this book if you're feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to be perfect. Number 4, how to be single. Being single doesn't mean that you're lonely, or that you have nobody to turn to when times are tough. It just means that you're taking the time to focus on yourself and what you want out of life. In this book, Jen provides a refreshing perspective on singlehood and challenges societal norms and expectations. She helps readers understand that being single is not a waiting room for finding a partner, but rather an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "The best relationship you can have is the one you have with yourself." After reading this book, I realized that I needed to focus on myself more, and that I didn't need a partner to complete me. I now approach dating from a place of self-love and confidence, which has made a huge difference in my relationships. If you're single and looking for some guidance on how to navigate the dating world, then I highly recommend reading How to Be Single. Number 5. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Overcoming fears and embracing vulnerability is a journey that we all must take in life. In this book, Jen shares her own experiences and insights on how to overcome fear and how it can lead to personal growth and self-discovery. She argues that by embracing vulnerability and stepping outside of our comfort zones, we can learn and evolve into stronger, more resilient individuals. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, "Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest strength." After reading this book, I realized that I had been holding myself back by letting fear dictate my actions. I learned to identify my core fears and to challenge the negative thoughts that held me back. If you're feeling stuck in your personal or professional life, I highly recommend reading Everything You Want is on the Other Side of Fear. As you can see, I absolutely adore this author's work. Her books have helped me become the person I am meant to be, and I know that they will do the same for you. So if you're ready to start your journey towards personal growth and self-discovery, then pick up any one of these books and let Jen's wisdom guide you on your path. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy reading and growth, friends.